Well, it was the Veterans March you probably heard nothing about. 320 active duty military and military veterans marched in D.C. President's Day. So why no coverage?
This beat is so natural.
This beat is so natural.
And tell me this, if this event were held protesting President Bush a few years ago, you don't think ABC, CBS, and MSNBC would have all been there? What about if this were in support of any other Republican candidate other than Ron Paul? Just watch. But again, no media coverage at all. The march, though, was about more than just foreign policy. As part of this march, these soldiers and veterans held a special flag-folding ceremony.
We held a flag-folding ceremony and held a hand salute to that flag for as many seconds as troops have committed suicide since Barack Obama was their commander-in-chief.
So why no coverage?
But because now we have accepted now for 10 years that we're allowed to start war, we call it preemptive war, preventive war. Well, that's an aggressive war. I believe in the Christian just war theory that you have to morally justify the war in defense. Now, if we're defending our country, and we need to defend, believe me, men and women will be in combat and defending our country, and that's the way it should be. But when it's an offensive war going where we shouldn't be, that's quite a bit different. So it's the foreign policy that needs examined. And we still have draft registration. What I fear is the draft coming back because we're getting way overly involved. And the draft, we keep registering our 18-year-olds. So when the draft comes, we're going to be registering young women, and because of this, they're going to be equal. Now, the wars we fight aren't defensive war, they're offensive war. We're involved in way too much. They're undeclared, they're not declared by the Congress, and so we're in wars that shouldn't be involved. So I don't want even the men to be over there. I don't want women being killed, but I don't want the men being killed in these wars.
Held a flag-folding ceremony and held a hand salute to that flag for as many seconds as troops have committed suicide since Barack Obama was their commander-in-chief.
Going to war rapidly like this is risky and it's reckless. Now, if you're so determined to go to war, the only thing I plead with you for, if this is the case, is do it properly. Ask the people and ask the Congress for a declaration of war. This is war, and people are going to die, and you got to get a declaration of war.
So why no coverage?
But again, no media coverage at all.
Often ignored.
They deserve more than one mention on all the stations. Somebody went and added these all up.
Thank you,
So what's going on here? You're in this media business.
How did Libertarian Ron Paul become the 13th floor in a hotel?
When his message isn't being cut off.
Well, I think it would be even more dangerous to start nitpicking wars with other countries. Someone like Iran. Israel is more than capable of.
Sorry, we just lost our tech connection, unfortunately.
The mainstream media would have you believe the military doesn't back Paul.
The top three contributors are the Air Force, the Army, and the Navy. And, compare that to somebody like Mitt Romney, whose top donations are like Goldman Sachs.
In fact, Paul gets far more campaign donations from members of the military than any other presidential candidate.
Ron Paul seems to be the only person that's representing us instead of the defense contractors and bankers.
Deep in the game.